So I know there really isn't a best way of doing this. I guess it's just doing it. So first off, I want to say welcome to my channel, and I want to give a little background about myself. So my name is Suzanne. I go by Susie, Susie Gates, if you know me on Instagram. I am 26 years old, currently living in Long Beach, California. I'm a Libra, if that means anything to you. I have been a personal trainer for now about 4 years. I have competed in 3 bikini competitions so far, and I love to coach other people for them as well as posing coaching. And on top of that, I do group training and online training. And I work here in Long Beach at a gym called Olympics Fitness. A little shout out if you know of it. If you haven't been there, it's pretty awesome. You should check it out. And other than that, I am a dog mom to my almost 1-year-old German Shepherd Pit Bull, Murphy. And I think I really wanted to start this channel because I feel like, especially in the past year, I've struggled so much with stuff in my own life that I really want to share and be an open person for others. And so what I mean with those struggles, a little background story, I have severe anxiety and depression, and just recently, a little over a month ago, I started taking an antidepressant for the first time. It was a tough decision and a long road coming, but I feel really good and I'm on the way up. So I always want to share my experiences and keep it real, because for me, physical health and mental health are extremely important, and they go hand in hand. You can look great on the outside, but if you're not feeling good on the inside, that's not healthy. Little background of my history with anxiety and depression. Looking back at my childhood and growing up, I feel like anxiety was always there, especially social anxiety. I remember being like in kindergarten, and I would cry every day when my mom dropped me off, and I couldn't handle lunchtime. So I don't have really good memories of like being a kid. Like I can't remember very much, but I specifically remember being in the cafeteria and literally just sitting there bawling my eyes out because it was too loud. Like I just could not handle the noise. It was just too many people, just too much for me. So that's something that I've always struggled with a lot. Years down the line, I got into musical theater when I was about 11. And even that was tough for me at first, but I feel like that was something that really broke me out of my shell. So even throughout this time, whether that was like middle school, high school, even like early college, I knew, like didn't know what anxiety was, but I knew there was something in me that wasn't the same as everybody else. And I feel like it wasn't really till I was about 21, right out of college, where I really started having like anxiety attacks, and like I noticed I would feel really depressed off of situations, whether it was like something didn't work out with a friend or a boyfriend, or I got in a fight with someone, and I just felt like I held on to these things or felt so low for not no reason, but almost just excessively more than one should. So I feel like once probably like 3-4 years ago is when I really realized like, okay, I have really bad anxiety. Like this is just something different. And it wasn't even until a while after that where I really realized like the depression and what exactly that was. The first time I can remember feeling like extremely depressed for an extended period of time was after I had competed in my first bikini competition. So at the time I was already a trainer, and I coached myself for this competition. So I didn't really know too much about what to do after the show. I was just like, cool, I did it, I made it. I didn't really know about reverse dieting, anything like that. So of course I rebounded, and I just hit a low, a huge, huge low. I remember like my boyfriend at the time, I'd be like crying all the time about nothing, and just like feeling so shitty. It's like the first time I can really remember that feeling of just feeling so low all the time that you just think, I don't want to do this anymore. Not that I wanted to pursue any action like that, but I just was tired of feeling the way I was feeling. So fast forward, to after my next show, I tried to manage that a little bit because I knew some of it with my work background. I knew that nutrition and sugar, things like that, carbs play a big part in your brain function. And so I had known that going from such a clean diet to like sugar and eating whatever I want was messing up not only my hormones, but my brain activity. So I feel like though the biggest, where everything really hit, the biggest time in my life was probably like all of 2018 and leading into 2019 is where I had been in so many dark places so many times throughout the year. Even times that if you would have asked me like what was wrong, I would have no answer. I wouldn't know what was wrong. I wouldn't know what to tell you because I didn't think anything was specifically wrong. And after so much time of feeling so low, especially like a few months ago, I had just decided, like, you know, I was always so against taking medication because I had always heard like, you know, there's crazy side effects. If you get off of them, everything goes crazy and just only the negative things. But I had reached that point where things I was trying, whether it was eating better, you know, controlling my nutrition, like even at my best, when I was active, trying to sleep my best, eating my best, I would still just feel off and wrong and low all the time. And I would tell myself or others like, yeah, it's good, it's fine, I feel good, I feel so much better, even knowing though that I wasn't feeling that great. It just wasn't the worst. It still wasn't a way of living. And I finally got to the point where I decided, you know, I just want to try something. And I know it's not an easy way out. It's not pop a pill and then you're happy. It's not a happy pill by any means. But I was like, you know, I'm running out of ideas here, so let me try something. So, you know, I now have a doctor that I talk to, check into all of that jazz, and I got put on an SSRI, and the first month on it has been a little crazy, but I finally now am feeling like a more controlled version of myself. So it's not that I don't have certain things going on in my life that may stress me out or may make me feel a certain way, but I feel more level-headed, like I'm not drowning, so I can go and tackle these things and try to make my life better, or even sit here and do these kind of videos. So I definitely want you to comment below if you have any questions, or maybe if you relate or you go through the same things, or maybe you know someone who's going through it. Because also something I've noticed and why I tend to be so open is because I know there's so many people out there who either suffer from the same things I do, or are on the other end and completely don't understand it because they've never felt that way themselves. So, you know, what I can say for anyone who does deal with depression, anxiety, anything like that, is that you are not alone, and we are stronger than our minds and we are stronger than our thoughts, and it's okay to not be okay, and you should never be ashamed of anything in that sense. And if you are someone who knows somebody who might be suffering, or you don't know anything about it at all and you've never felt these things and you don't understand, it's also okay to not understand. Like, I would never wish this on somebody. When I have like people, really close friends who tell me, or even my sister, one of my closest people in my life who I go to about everything, like I go to her, she's like the number one person I will dial the phone and call them when I'm just having one of those days. And even though she doesn't feel that same way and she doesn't understand it, that makes me glad. I wouldn't want that for her, and I'm glad she doesn't. But I feel like if you are one of those people who doesn't understand those things, accept that you don't understand it, that's fine. I don't need you to understand it, and I feel like anyone who has these things shouldn't need you to understand it, but I think you should just be there. Like, the best people could have done for me or have done for me is just listen. And it's not that I need fixing, or I need you to fix something or help me or anything like that. It's just nice to have those people that are just soundboards and will just listen and, you know, sometimes remind you that what you are feeling, not that it isn't real, but it's not forever and it's not truth. Those feelings of like, I don't want to do this anymore, or, you know, no, people like wouldn't care if I wasn't here, or everything would be easier for everyone. Like, it's nice to have those people to remind you, like, that is just your mind. That is not truth. It's not reality. But also, I try to be an open person because I love when people who may not understand it do come and talk to me about it and ask me questions, because I'll always be very open, because you may know someone else who's struggling with it, but they don't know how to communicate what they're going through or answer questions about it. So I always try to explain it different ways to different friends, but I think the best way for myself that I can explain like the depression and anxiety, like especially when it hits and it gets really bad, is like, for example, the anxiety is almost like, you know, that nervous feeling that you have like before a test or something that's really important to you, an interview, or I don't know, maybe even like a first date, something like that. It's like a maximum level of that, a lot of times over nothing. And yeah, it's just a pretty crappy feeling. And I would say the depression for me, a good way I can explain the feeling is just a super, super low in sadness. And other times too, it's not really explainable. And it's times I just want to like hide away in bed, not speak to anyone. And I have reached those times of, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. And it was never about not wanting to live my life. It was feeling like I wasn't living my life and I couldn't live my life because I was feeling so low. So that was what I didn't want to do anymore. I didn't want to feel that way anymore. I didn't want to feel low. So then you feel like, what's the point? I'm not really living. So especially in those times, yeah, I like thank God for my family and my friends that I have people to go talk to and remind me that that's not truth. So with all that, as I've been rambling on, yeah, if you have any questions or you're curious about anything, just let me know. What I plan on doing with this channel, like I said before, is just doing talks like this, keeping it real. Like I literally just look a mess, do not do my hair, I do not have any makeup on or anything like that. I'm just like sitting in my apartment. But I definitely want to meet up with other people and like professionals in the field and get other people's ideas and talk about, you know, conversations that may not always be easy to talk about, and always keep it real from my experiences, whether that be mental health, physical health, nutrition, love, life, everything in between. So if there's anything you'd be curious to hear me talk about or talk to anyone specific, just let me know, comment below. And other than that, thank you for listening.